Yeah, Ian would never do something like that though.
Yeah, yeah.
Because luckily, once you get to that level, you've learned enough.
Yeah.
But when you're coming up, man, I would have taken that gig if I was doing. You're what, 3 years in? You said.
Yeah.
I would have done that gig 3 years in. I probably did do that gig 3 years in, but a different guy. There's always going to be someone like that. I fucking had an instinctual, real quick thing with this one guy. I can't remember his name, but people told me he was a little shady. And I did this show in like Lafayette, Indiana.
You don't remember his name?
No, he wasn't around much longer after that. And he tried to do a thing where it's like, as you can see, we didn't really sell as many tickets as we wanted to.
Yeah.
And I go, I noticed that, but I really appreciate you being a stand-up guy and paying me what you said. So I said that before he could do a little fucking bullshit, because I knew that's what he was going to do.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to do the whole thing. It was like, you could see we didn't sell what we said, so is it okay if I pay you this much? I knew he was going to do that.
Oh,
and I'm like,
wow.
I'm not going to fucking let you do that. So I then gave him a compliment, being like, I noticed, but you know what? You're a stand-up guy. I really appreciate you giving me the amount you said. And then he was like, yeah, of course. But really, if I didn't cut him off and say that, he would have fucking tried to stiff me by at least $100 probably.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I always like. That's what I mean when I said I was going to give somebody a second chance. I was like, how do I put this? I mean, I've been even hearing about people like that are like, big in Chicago that are like, people don't know what to think of you because they don't know you yet, and you look like a fucking asshole. So like,
Who, you look like an asshole?
Yeah.
I think you look like a comic,
Yeah.
well, which might be an asshole.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So like I, that's what I mean by like, if somebody's like, oh man, you shouldn't deal with this fucking person. I was like, let me see what happens for me, and I saw what happened for me. And I was like, I went on this adventure to Kankakee, didn't get fucking paid, whatever. We did, we did this, like, definitely won't do it again.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this guy would have to bring his rep up, and that's his fucking problem. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I think you handle that maturely. It's nice to give people the benefit of the doubt, and it's what's the old thing? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or fool me the other way. I always fuck it up.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? It's
dude, all those old boomer quotes are like gold for material, because I just love shitting on them because none of them make sense.
a lot of them don't. But no, man. With
my favorite is that all who wander aren't lost, and that has to be the first sign of dementia.
yeah, all who wander aren't lost.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean if everyone's wandering around, we're all lost together, so therefore no one's lost. I don't know.
Yeah,
Sometimes people try to be too clever, and then it's not clever at all.
Yeah, the only reason why I remember that quote is because so I listen to a lot of like black metal too, and there's this band called Windeer, and they're all fucking depressed in Norway, living in the mountains, whatever. So this band Windeer, the singer got like super drunk, and he was like living in the mountains, and he was going to walk 15 miles to his uncle's house, and he froze to death, like Jack Nicholson. So I remember there being all these memes of like, all who wander aren't lost, except Windeer.
Yeah.
He's lost.
He's lost. He's
he
dead.
got lost. But, yeah. So what the fuck is going on? This is Wild Philosophy with your host, Wild Phil, and we are here with Joe Kilgallon. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
What's going
Happy
on?
to be here, man.
Oh, yeah, let's get wild.
Fellow Oasis brother over here.
Yeah, dude, fuck it. I think that was the first thing I was talking to you about at that Tony Carr show a while back.
Yeah, we did that show in Naperville.
Yeah.
And
at Maggiano's.
Yeah. I've told people I've done shows at Maggiano's because it's like a mini chain of Italian restaurants.
Yeah.
They've got actually pretty good food. And
It is good.
Yeah. And so people are like, where the hell am I got some back room? But I remember I saw your Roll With It tattoo.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, Oasis fan. Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oh man.
Now everyone's an Oasis fan.
Yeah, right? Now.
I'm jumping on the bandwagon.
I love how like I had so many haters telling me like, oh, Soldier Field is going to be half full? Fucking sold out, dude.
Instantly too. Some people thought it was gonna be half full.
Yeah, 60,000. That's what I was telling people. You know what's funny? Like, this is so cheesy, but the whole like how Liam always uses biblical.
Yeah.
Like, that show was actually biblical, because you tell me what other band, like, they're the fans are like soccer hooligans, so we all sing along together. What's the It's not like it's almost like the Blackhawks song, but it's like a soccer thing. What are they? Ole, ole, ole.
Yeah, the
right?
Blackhawks song's that the Chelsea Dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like imagine 60,000 people all singing together at once. I don't know any other show that is biblical.
It is.
There's no other band I'm gonna see that's like that.
You know, I had this weird feeling. So I bought my ticket. I bought a single general admission ticket so I could be on the floor. And I knew other people, so I'm like, I'll find them and meet up with them. And right when it was scanned in and I walked and I entered in and I'm like, oh, I'm here. I remember getting a little bit like, oh, this is happening, which is so cool because their intro, that video as they're playing the song "Fucking in the Bushes," and they're have a thing where it's like, this is not a drill, this is not a drill, this is happening, and they're showing like all the headlines over the years of, well, Noel and Liam ever get along, and reunion tours, because people have been demanding and begging for them to get back together forever.
Yeah,
because when they first broke up, I kind of remember it a little bit. Like I liked them when they originally came out, but I really got into them in 2016 when that documentary came out.
Yeah.
Because American radio really turned their back on them because, as Noel has said a million times, it's like, we're real rock stars. We're not going to do what they tell us to do.
Yeah.
And the American radio, American media, music media just thought like, oh, these brothers are a couple assholes. And so, because they have so many hit songs that never got radio play in America.
Yeah.
So many great songs.
But that was because they were like, well, we're already fucking millionaires with our British money. Fuck going to America.
Yeah. They didn't care.
That's why they only promoted Champagne Supernova and Wonderwall.
Those are only two singles that really got a lot of radio play.
Yeah.
I remember Don't Go Away got radio play. I'm trying to think of any other later songs that got radio play.
Maybe Stop Crying Your Heart Out.
That might have gotten some, and they filmed the music video for that in L.A. because I rewatched the music video for that recently, and they go right past this great hot dog joint and in between the Comedy Store and Laugh Factory. It's called Carnegie's.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really good. Or Carney's. And and then what's the first single off of Standing on the Shoulders of Giants? Go Let It Out.
Go Let It Out.
That got radio play.
Love that song.
Great song. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is a lot of I think a lot of British people hate Roll With It.
Why?
Because that's what lost the feud with Blur.
Oh, yeah, because I remember seeing the Top of the Pops thing where they did. They kind of got that from Nirvana a little bit, where they lip synced, and because Top of the Pops is a British like, Top of the Pops, the best like the tracks, of like their Billboard charts, and Noel is singing, but it's Liam singing, and then Liam's pretending to play guitar.
Yeah.
So they're all like doing the thing. And Nirvana did something like that with Smells Like Teen Spirit, where it's lip syncing, so they're all acting like they weren't really playing their instruments.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Kurt sang it weird. Now I know you talked about this. I saw a clip where you talked about Live Forever being a response to the Nirvana song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was.
Yeah.
But Noel and Liam did like Nirvana though.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Noel talk. There's this great thing when Nevermind, that Nirvana album had its 30th anniversary, and they're talking to Noel, and he goes, "This is one of the greatest albums of all time." And our one producer, Owen Morris, knew him, and he used to tell me, "Oh, you would love the guy who's fucking mad." And Noel naturally was like a left-handed guitarist, blue eyes, singer-songwriter. Yeah, there's a lot I liked about him. And even in that one clip, he goes, "As much as I like them and all that, you can't come over here talking about smack, saying I want to hate myself, I want to die. Kids don't need to hear that shit."
Yeah. Did you ever listen to Brian Jonestown Massacre?
No.
Do you know who they are? No.
I've heard of them, but I've never listened to them. No.
Have you ever seen? You want me to help you light that? I don't care. We can.
Yeah. Can you?
Yeah. I can fucking get it going for you.
I had it going, and then I started.
You don't want me to put like sucking on it? Do you not want me to?
I'll suck on it.
Okay. Yeah. Here. So when you light it, just like suck and blow out at the same time too. It's gonna flame. There you go. Yeah, like that. Now you got a cherry. Yeah.
Thanks. I had it going, and then I started gabbing too much. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Yeah. So Brian, what's it called again?
Brian Jonestown Massacre. So, when I was probably like 2010, so I was like, I don't even know, 25, 27. I had a psychedelic band. I got obsessed with Brian Jonestown Massacre, and I was like, I don't know what it was. I never fucking like watched that movie The Secret or anything, but I was like, whatever I manifest is going to happen. And within 5 years, they were my favorite band, and then I became friends with them, and they put on shows with me. and they're like an American version of Oasis. They really are.
Oh, cool.
They're kind of like King Gizzard before King Gizzard.
Nice.
I got into them because did you ever see Boardwalk Empire?
Yeah.
The theme song.
Yeah.
That's
a good
Brian
theme.
Jones. So they were
I got to rewatch that show. I've been rewatching The Sopranos on season 4. So Boardwalk Empire will be next for me.
yeah, they so do you remember the documentary called Dig with the Dandy Warhols?
Yeah, I heard of it, but I never saw it.
Okay, so that was the whole thing with Brian Jonestown Massacre is like they started with Dandy Warhols in San Francisco and they were kind of feuding. It was kind of like Oasis and Blur. And Brian Jonestown is known, the singer Anton, great songwriter, great music, huge fucking asshole. I mean, the whole documentary, he's beating his band members up on stage. Like, he slams a fucking sitar over someone's face. And the funny thing is, he loses every fight. He's a bitch. like it's hilarious. And, dude, it drove me nuts because I was nuts about them for like 10 years. I think, and the only reason why I heard of them, weirdly, one of their songs was in the American Pie movie. I was like, oh, I'm just going to rewatch these, see how they age, whatever.
What'd you think when you rewatched American Pie?
It's cringy, you know, like it's like, oh, I'm just checking that it's recording.
Yeah, I got you.
It's cringy, you know. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like I recently rewatched, just to be funny, the Varsity Blues, and it's like people poking each other in the head, fag, you know.
Yeah, I know, dude.
It's so weird. Like,
I rewatched American Pie as well not that long ago, but I didn't finish it because I got like 25, 30 minutes in. And there was some parts where I'm like, oh, Jesus.
It's funny, too, because like all those homophobic jocks from the 90s, they're all like working at the airport now or a hot dog stand, you know? But
absolutely. But what I turned it off because it was making me sad because I'm like, fuck, man, I remember this time in my life. I remember seeing American Pie in the theater.
Yeah.
I was underage, too, because, like, you know, it was rated R. But I loved that movie when it came out because it was aimed at me. It was aimed at 14-year-old boys who were like, yeah, I can't wait to get some ass in high school and all that kind of shit.
Mom, bro.
MILF. They coined the phrase MILF, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I think it's a category of porn.
Yeah.
That they coined that movie. Like, people don't, I think a lot of Gen Z does not realize where that came from.
Do you think, was that your first, like, fucked up movie that you saw in theaters, like, too young? What do you think was the first?
It's probably that, but I remember seeing the last 10 minutes of Total Recall because the Portage Theater, the neighborhood I grew up in Chicago.
Theater?
Yeah, the Portage Theater.
I went to Chicago day camp and we'd see movies like all summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had 2 theaters at the time, and there was me and my sister were next door at like Ninja Turtles or some kids movie, and my dad was at Total Recall. And his whole thing, because we did it a lot, and he'd be like, all right, when your movie's done, just hang out over here.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'll come out, if my movie finishes first, blah, blah, blah. Because they usually start near the same time. But instead, I was like, screw this. And I just went into the theater and watched like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he was so enthralled in the movie because he invested all that time. So he didn't tell me to get the hell out of here, but he was just like, all right, just sit down and be quiet. And I watched the last 10 minutes and I remember being like, I should not have seen this.
Yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 41. I just turned 41 a week ago.
Well, it's pretty close. I'm 38 in May, so pretty close. Yeah, I remember when I was in that Chicago day, I saw the Mighty Ducks when they first came out.
I think I saw that there too.
Like Blank Check.
A movie theater closed in like 01 or 02. And the whole joke was in that neighborhood for a while because they put renovation up, but then we later found out the guy just didn't pay taxes for like a decade.
Yeah.
So people would jokingly be like, oh, renovation's playing again? That must be a great movie. Because it's just a renovation on the fucking marquee.
Yeah, we used to go the Portage and then to that patio.
The patio too, yeah. Patio had a similar problem. They both closed because whoever owned them just became deadbeats.
Yeah. So what? Oh, so here's what I found out. What was crazy is like I was nuts about Brian Jonestown Massacre, and they were kind of like, I say they're like King Gizzard because they would do shit like where they would have a play on the album name, where like they released an album called My Bloody Underground, and it's like the music on it is a mix of like My Bloody Valentine and Velvet Underground.
Oh, that's fun.
So they would do that kind of shit, and I was nuts about them forever, and then I just kind of like fell out. I just got overplayed, you know. And I recently heard this. So when Oasis first came to the U.S., when they were popping, 1994, they went to San Francisco, the Whiskey A Go-Go.
That was in L.A., actually.
Oh, that's L.A. Oh, okay.
I know where you're going. I know why you thought San Francisco. It's because I'll let you tell the story about them at Whiskey Go-Go. Because basically, if you don't mind me telling it.
Yeah.
They took crystal meth on accident. They thought
It wasn't on accident.
It was on purpose.
It was. They got fucking dosed, like Ari style. Yeah.
Okay. And then Noel and Liam got into a big fight, and Noel went up to San Francisco to get away from Liam, and that's when he was the song "Talk Tonight."
Yeah.
The song "Half the World Away."
Yeah.
"Morning Glory," even because the girl he was staying with for like the week, she was actually at the LA gig.
Yeah.
And there was a big story about her and all that. And he mentions it in the documentary Supersonic.
Yeah.
Because she would say, "What's the story, Morning Glory?" And he thought that was like an American expression when really no one in America said that. She just she was just a quirky chick in San Francisco. And then she also said, "Don't look." She also said, like, to him, because she knew it was a fling. She knew she was going to spend the rest of her life with him. But she said, "Don't worry, I won't look back in anger."
Yeah.
And that's where he got. So he got like 4 fucking songs from that meeting one woman.
This is what women do to us, man.
Man.
But
True.
But yeah, like fucking so Brian Jonestown Massacre, the 2 longest members, because they literally had like over 70 members because of how much of an asshole the singer is. And the 2 members is the singer and then the tambourine player, because he just plays tambourine and gets high.
Yeah.
And when
gig.
It's funny because when I was nuts about them, I found out where that the tambourine player works at Amoeba Records in San Francisco. And dude, I should just put it on my channel because it's so cringy. I went to Amoeba and I saw that he was there, so I put my phone in my like my shirt pocket to like try and talk. I'm like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm a huge fan." And the whole time I'm thinking he can't see it, dude. The whole time he's like, "What the fuck? Why does this guy have his phone out?" You know. But what happened is, they were pretty much butthurt how big Oasis got big. Like that, they're like, they should be opening up for us. Like, why the fuck are we opening up for them? Type shit, you know. Mm-hmm. And what happened is they were like, they knew that meth, it'll make you like all chewy, right, all gummy. So Joel, the tambourine player, rubbed his fucking pubes all over the mic.
Ugh.
And then Noel was like, "Yo, you boys want to do some powder?" And Joel from Brian Jonestown was like, "Nah, we don't really do coke out here. We kind of only do ecstasy." And then he gave him crystal meth, and when he's thinking it's ecstasy. So not only do they get in a fight and Noel runs away, but they were laughing that like, "Oh, dude, that microphone was on your fucking asshole." And Liam's like chewing on it, because he's on meth, And it was like that was the first time they almost broke up because of this fucking butthurt band.
Jesus Christ!
And I went to go
addictive.
Yeah, dude. I went to go see him Monday. Literally, not even just to see Brian Jonestown, but this is such music nerdy shit. There's a Norwegian band that I love. Like, do you like My Bloody Valentine? You ever listen?
Yeah.
There's a band called Serena Manish, and they're from Norway. And I think they are the best shoegaze band ever. They're like 2010 era, but they're fucking amazing. And the singer of Serena Manish, you know what it is, dude? I really think they're the best fucking band ever, but their management was just awful. They didn't promote, and it sucked. They came once to Chicago, and I missed it, And so their singer was like, "Yo, I need some money." Because their band was on Brian Jonestown Massacre's label. So he was like, "Do you mind if I like play keys for this tour?" So I kind of just went to go meet the singer of Serena Manish. And dude, I felt so bad because their first stop was Philly. And this Anton, the singer of Brian Jonestown, and the singer of Serena Manish, his name is Emil, they got mugged in Philly. So bad that he cracked his kneecap. And from what I heard, Anton was like, "So you're going to fucking finish this tour? Or you're going to be a fucking pussy?" And so like Emil's like going on like going around with a cane and shit. And I felt so bad. But I told him, I'm like, "Dude, I think you're the best fucking He was almost in tears. He was just like, "I've been wanting to open up for Brian Jonestown for forever." And my friends from Minnesota who I used to play with, they're called Flavor Crystals. They ended up opening that night. This was like last Monday. So I don't know, but that's the whole little fucking nerdy.
No, I nerd out on music. That's what's so great about YouTube, is just learning so much. Because when I get into a band, I want to know everything about them.
Yeah, dude.
Everything, because it's just so fascinating to me how they got started, how they create,
By the way, sorry if it gets smoky in here.
No, it's all good. I don't mind the smoky part. I don't know if you noticed. You're gonna see it on the video when you started talking about that. I inhaled it a little bit on accident, and that's why I was like,
yeah. It's
gonna be funny if you watch the playback because I lit it a little too much. And
a while back, I had a cigar with my cousin. She's like 10 years younger than me, so she thought it was a blunt. She took the biggest. She's like, no, I know how to fucking smoke good shit. And she took the biggest drag. She was throwing up all night. It was hilarious.
That's why I wasn't a big weed fan for a while. I know you're talking about cigars, but I remember smoking weed with some comedian friends 15 years ago. I like weed a lot now because I'm off alcohol, but they're passing around this bowl. And I was if you're not much of a pot smoker, you don't really know how much of a hit you're supposed to take. I was such a rookie, right?
Yeah.
That they gave it to me. I took my hit, and when I exhaled, it was like black smoke, and all of them at once were like, holy shit, like,
yeah,
what the fuck is wrong with you? Why'd you take such a massive hit? And I was like, I don't know, I don't really smoke. And they're like, my God, I was like Chernobyl coming out of your fucking mouth. And I was like, yeah, I'll be all right.
Was it
I
hash?
was so high. No, it was regular weed. I don't think there was hash in it.
Okay.
One time I did smoke hash though, not to name drop, but I was the 2010 to 13 era of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
I was friends with a good amount of the guys on the team.
Yeah.
Who's
the guy that became a comedian again?
That's Scott Darling, but he was after. He was on the 2015 team.
Okay.
Scott's a really nice dude. I wasn't friends with him then, but
his mom is my wife's boss.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's a small world, man. I'm telling you. But I did the Schaumburg Improv. I was just the host, and Dave Bolin on the Hawks and Duncan Keith were both in the crowd because they were friends with Steve Byrne, that was the first time I met Steve Byrne, but then me and him became buddies, and I started opening for him a bunch. And so after the show, we went out and hung out with them. I just started hanging out with a bunch of those guys. But one guy, I won't name his name, but this would have been in 2013 when they won the cup that year. He gave me, they were all smoking outside. So I was like, yeah, I'll take a hit. And it was hash, and I didn't know. And that fucked me up because we went back in the bar, and then the bar was after hours. So we were there till like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And I didn't say a word to anyone. I just sat there like this. And people kept coming up to me going, you all right? I was just nodding my head. I couldn't even talk. I was so fucked up.
You weren't tweaking. You were just tired, right?
I was just tired and paranoid.
Yeah.
And regular weed, I don't get paranoid. I know some people when they smoke pot, they get paranoid. I don't. That's why I like weed. I mean, in my head, I'm like, I should have been a pothead the whole time instead of a drunk for such a long time or a drinker because it just makes me so chill and mellow. Where alcohol, I used to have a thing where like I told people this up until recently. I'm like 90% of the time I drink, 95% even, I'm a happy, fun drunk. Then there's that 5% where I'm a fucking prick.
Yeah.
It's just something in you stirs and you just get angry and you're an asshole, right? And so that's a decent enough percentage. When I would tell people that percentage, they'd be like, oh, that's common. Then as I got older and more shit started going on in my life, that percentage started to shift to where it became like a coin flip almost. And then I'm like, I got to back off this.
Is it because you're Irish?
Yeah, it must be something in the heritage. I'm sure it is. I joke about how if I could do a time machine besides killing Hitler and all those bad people, I would go back to Ireland way back in the day and be like, put the whiskey down. I got this plan for you. You're going to love it. It's going to save many a relationship. It's going to save many a friendship because, I started the drinking really, I started an antidepressant and then I didn't know you couldn't mix the two.
Yeah. Do you mind saying what it was?
What the antidepressant was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still on it. I'm trying to wean my way off of it now. I'm actually talking to a psychiatrist this week, and it's called duloxetine. It's like generic Cymbalta, and it's supposed to be for anxiety and depression, but they treat for some other stuff. And I think the first month or two, I was like, I'm liking this. But anyway, I remember when someone later told me, "Oh, you're not supposed to drink on that," because I had such a really bad episode, you could call it.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of those things because I remember seeing the side of the prescription bottle where it's like, don't drink or whatever. But it was one of those things where I'm like, a lot of bottles say don't drink, but really it just makes you tired.
Yeah.
You ever see NyQuil will say don't fucking drive on NyQuil, but people fucking drive on NyQuil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so that's what I thought. I was like, oh, if I get too drunk, I'll probably just get sleepy. I didn't know it fucks you. An antidepressant with a lot of alcohol will fuck your brain up to the point where I was like, I thought things happened that didn't happen. Because I remember telling people, I'm like, well, I remember singing karaoke. I was in a good mood then. I don't know what shifted. And everyone's like, you didn't sing karaoke. It wasn't even karaoke night. What are you talking about? It was like, Jesus Christ, really? I was that fucked up?
Yeah, you know what's wild?
Be careful with those.
I don't know if this was on a Reddit or an actual article, but I remember I was afraid to go on SSRIs, and I went through the whole salad bar of well, we're gonna try see what helps you. And first they put me on Prozac because that's like the most popular, whatever.
Very common, yeah.
And I became, I mean, and maybe if I stayed on it, I'd be okay. But I was on it for like 3 weeks, and I became so sensitive. Like I was like watching Three Stooges, and I'm like, why does he keep hitting him?
Mm-hmm.
Why? It was ridiculous. And then like I watched like. My wife was like, just keep watching comedy, keep your spirit. I'm like, okay, well then you pick a good comedy. And she picked Me, Myself, and Irene. I'm like, they're exploiting a split personality.
Yeah.
Like
that movie I caught like 5 years ago recently, and I remember being like, a lot of this humor is fucked up because it's just the main, Jim Carrey's character, the first like fucking 15 minutes, everyone just dumps on him.
Yeah.
He marries this woman that he thinks is the one of his dreams, and she instantly cheats on him day one.
Just constant denial, even though all his kids are black, right?
Yeah, the constant denial. So she has 3 kids with a black guy, and they have no traces of the white wife, which is such bad casting, but I get why they did that. And the whole thing was just, he was just too nice to believe it. And then the woman he marries is supposed to be like Mensa super genius, and then she marries the guy who's supposed to be like a super genius.
Yeah.
But then they ditch the 3 kids.
Yeah.
They ditch her 3 kids. So I'm like, they're geniuses, but they're fucking assholes.
Yeah. I was like, I'm like, I can't watch this while I'm going on an antidepressant.
That's not a good one. Yeah, she chose badly on that one.
But
no offense to her.
But I went on the whole. I tried Prozac. He was gonna put me on like Cymbalta or Lexapro, and then I tried lithium. But lithium's a bitch because like lithium was actually pretty like it was well with my like my whole organism, whatever. It's just that you have to get blood tested like every month, or you'll get poisoning.
Really?
You have to like it metabolizes weird, so you have to keep it at the right place. So it is a good antidepressant. It's just that like, and then I finally got on Zoloft, and dude, Zoloft was a game changer for me. A lot of people hate Zoloft, but what I was gonna tell you. So I read this thing on Reddit, and I was like, dude, this blew my mind, and it was like. Did you remember having like really fucking weird dreams when you start off?
Yeah.
That's what they said is like, so when you're like, even when you and me are sitting right here, you might have like, if I was just staring a little bit too long, you might be like, well, this guy's being weird, So you have like these subconscious anxieties that don't come out during the day. And they're like, when you're on SSRIs, it all comes out in your dreams. Which is kind of fucking crazy,
I remember having really weird dreams, and I'd wake up being like, that was weird, but I could never really recap exactly what the hell was going on in the dreams.
Yeah.
Where before, when I would have a dream, I could remember a lot of the dream.
Yeah.
So I stopped remembering the dreams, but I knew they just felt weirder. And I'm not sleeping well on this stuff either. I'll fall asleep and wake up an hour later, and I'll be sweating, and I never sweat when I slept before this drug.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just too many side effects going on right now with it that I'm like, I got to get the fuck off this. So hopefully they'll find something else for me, or
I had some like, so I'm on epilepsy medicine because I used to get seizures in my sleep.
Oh,
I haven't had it in like 13 years, but
that's good.
They told me they're like number one thing is vivid dreams, and the difference. So like epilepsy dreams, well, like anticonvulsant medication dreams are like wild. I mean, it's like. I had a dream where I was like, I went to go see a punk rock show with my friend at Reggie's, and then we left Reggie's, and he's like, yo, we're hungry. Let's go get some food in Chinatown. And then I'm in Chinatown, and suddenly this Ganesh-size elephant is chasing us. And then all the way at the end of the dream, I get this knife from like a monk, and he tells me to just drop it right on the elephant's eye from like a 2-story building, and it dies. And I wake up like,
wow,
just intense shit. My favorite dreams, I would always dream of like a airplane crashing right next to me.
I've had the airplane crash dream before, but never next to me. It's near me. There's been times where I'm on a balcony, but I don't have a balcony, and I'll see a plane, and it's going down, and I know it's going down so close where I'm like, I should fucking duck for cover because there's gonna be some sort of like, type of thing. So I've had the plane crash dream before. I wonder what the fuck that means.
I don't know.
You should get a dream analyst on this.
Well, actually, I dated a chick who was into that shit.
Really?
It's called dreammoods.com.
Wow.
And it's got an index of everything, but luckily now you can just ask ChatGPT.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But
by the way, this is a good cigar, but I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna let it go. I might relight it later, but I'm gonna give it a break for now.
I understand. The thing that I found out is so like anticonvulsant shit, you get vivid like sort of like action movie dreams. But on SSRIs, I would get shit like, you know how you were saying, oh, I remember karaokeing, whatever, right? You get dreams that are so fucking realistic that you think they happened. So like I would have dreams where I had like friends that were dead, but I was hanging out with them. So I'd wake up in the morning and I'd call them. I'm like, oh yeah, they've been dead for 5 years.
That fucks with me.
Yeah.
Because I have dreams about my dad who died a few years ago, and then my grandma, she died like 23 years
Sorry
ago.
about that. You guys were close?
Me and my dad were insanely close. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Really, really close. Yeah. Yeah, that fucked. I'm still probably not even over that. I don't think I am. I think about him every day. But yeah, I heard there's a great comedian, Erica Nicole Clark. Really funny. Actually, Mr. T's daughter. She does Laugh Factory and Comedy Bar a lot, and
wow,
she does all the clubs in Chicago.
That's Mr. T's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I'm not saying anything that she hasn't said publicly or made jokes about.
Yeah.
She said that she heard if you have a dream and someone you know is dead in the dream, like your dad or whoever you're close with, your friends, like you were saying, and they start talking to you, like don't talk back. It's supposed to be like a bad thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like, I don't know. I mean, this is all theory, obviously, but she was saying that it's like an evil spirit impersonating someone that you would recognize and love, and them talking to you is supposed to be like, you're not supposed to, they're trying to get information out of you, or they're trying to, it's something like that. I mean, I'm probably telling the story wrong, but that's what she told me, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, there's such weird. I remember because I had so many dream side effects, my wife bought me like this dream diary, and I fucking love reading that shit like years later because it's some of that shit is so fun. I mean, there was like one time I remember I went to like in the dream, I'm in this like you remember the first Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
You remember when they go to that villa house? Like, there's like a house like that where it's like a villa house and it's like in the middle of cornfields, like kind of like
they drive out there, they April O'Neil.
Yeah. Almost like Field of Dreams type, you know? And I go to this house and I was like trying to get in the house and I climb in the window and it's Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots.
Really? Wow.
And he gives me a hug. He's like, yo man, I'll be right back. And then he like waves away. And then one of the songs were playing, and I woke up in tears, dude. Because he was already dead.
Yeah.
I was like, and then I was just like the biggest Stone Temple Pilots fan for like 4 months, you know?
I love Stone Temple Pilots. They're great. We're great.
I had another one where like, this is so goofy. I don't know where they come from. Another one was like, I was maybe like 6 months in comedy, and I used to be a welder, so I would listen. I can't really listen to podcasts anymore at my job because you got to like communicate all day. But when I was a welder, you're to yourself. And I remember in this dream, I was like trying to move up in comedy. So Joey Diaz was looking for like a secretary, like bodyguard. And then I was hanging out with him, and I realized that he was like a disgusting person. Like he'd make me fucking like get him toilet paper, help him bathe. And I was like, what the fuck? I liked you so much, and you're a gross old piece of shit. You know, like it's so weird. Like and you know what's funny is like, what does that mean?
I don't know.
You know? Like you can't even look that up in the dream in dictionary, you know?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it means something like this is like someone you looked up to, and then have you ever had someone you looked up to hurt you in the past? Maybe that was what that was representing.
Yeah, you know.
So
you know who the first person I was? Do you remember like what was your like first hero where you were like fuck this person?
Someone I loved and then later thought fuck that person.
Yeah.
I don't know who my first was, but I do remember. Because this was recently, I was like, oh, Conor McGregor's a piece of shit. And then a friend of mine was like, you loved him. And I'm like, yeah, I did. I was a huge Conor McGregor fan.
Was he like, had some rapey stuff?
Yeah, he's got several allegations of that. He's punched out an old man. He's just, I don't like his views on things anymore. He just seems like an idiot piece of shit who treats women like garbage. So I was like, yeah, I don't like him. But I was a massive McGregor fan. Mm-hmm. You know, his rise was awesome. You know, you talked about manifesting. He was a big guy where like there was all these videos of him way early on in his life before he even got into the UFC where it's like, you will see me in the UFC, I'm gonna be this. Like he just was so determined and worked his ass off.
Yeah,
he had a great work ethic. So I'm like, oh, this guy's such a great role model. And he did big numbers, and yeah, he talked shit, but it was funny. You know what I mean? I always knew it was like, that's just part of the game. You know, they talk shit.
It was like that rags to riches thing.
It was totally a rags to riches. He was on, like, you know, the dole, which is basically welfare. They call it the dole over there. And so he was getting government assistance because he was that broke.
Yeah.
And the same day he got signed by the UFC, he was still on like government assistance.
Yeah.
And then like flash forward 4 years later.
Yeah.
And he's the biggest star in the fucking sport.
The fame got to him.
Yeah. I think the fame definitely got to him. The drugs, the fucking sniff, snorting all sorts of cocaine.
I hate to say,
but now I can admit he's a piece of shit. It's okay too, listeners or whoever was watching this. I think too many people now, they fall in love with someone and then they just start, whenever they have bad behavior, they want to excuse it because they just don't want to admit to themselves that they chose wrong.
Yeah.
But it's not even like you chose wrong. You were a fan of someone. They revealed who they were repeatedly. It's not like one allegation. There's so many.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, this guy's clearly a bad dude. But yeah, that's the one I could think of. I can't think of the first person who had that.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, though. When I lived in L.A., I did several shows with Joey Diaz. Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Oh, he is. Absolutely. Yeah. I remember I was just like, so this was like right when I got in the union. So I was listening to Joey Diaz and all. I mean, I just had a fucking routine every day. It was like Tiger Belly, Rogan still, Joey Diaz. I think it was what else was it? I mean, obviously Legion of Skanks. You know, yeah. I fucking loved it. And I remember he was coming to Chicago theater, and dude, like a month before I saw Joey Diaz, my wife and I, we both love Conan O'Brien.
Yeah,
I fucking love him. I mean, I still like Craig Ferguson was my favorite.
Craig was the most underrated.
Yeah.
He was so good, and they should have given him the Letterman spot, but they went with Colbert instead.
Yeah.
And Ferguson was like, oh, fuck this then. You know,
I got to see him at the Schaumburg Improv when he was in like...
Super funny guy.
But I remember seeing Conan, because my wife really wanted to go, and not only were we nosebleed seats, we were like, hey, let's make a little bit of extra money. We're going to put folding chairs behind the nosebleed seats. And they were like $120 each, you know?
Jesus.
Joey Diaz, whole fucking Chicago theater, $30. I was fucking eighth from the front, eighth row from the front. And not only that, afterwards, there was a line of like 20 people. I mean, there were people with cerebral palsy, paralyzed. He met every single one of them.
Yeah, great guy.
Greatest fucking
because he could have charged more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, there's some people like that. Because he had a really, we're talking about... off air, we're talking about second chances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was in prison. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think it's easy for some of us. I hear a lot of people talk about, we need to give people second chances and mental health matters. We need to care about that and have more empathy for people. But then I see a lot of those same people who have that for complete strangers they've never met, but don't have that for the people in their lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then thank God that stand-up comedy, thankfully, is something that Joey could have gone right into. Because a lot of times in life, people who are ex-cons struggle to find work after they get released.
Yeah.
You know, but he was able to go into something like stand-up comedy where it's like, are you funny? Then you're welcome to the party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone I know who knows him and has been around him says great things about Joey Diaz. Yeah, he had a fucked up past, but he made amends for that. Even the guy that... There was the guy he like assaulted or did something terrible to, ended up going to one of his shows.
Yeah.
And they took a picture together and they were cool and all was forgiven. I'm like, that's a feel good story.
That's why he went to prison.
Yeah. Because he beat someone up or something?
He owed him, he was like a loan shark and he owed him a loan. So he kidnapped him
That's right. He kidnapped the guy. Thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what the exact story was. But yeah, I mean, you know, he made amends. He got himself better. And now he's a guy who, I'm not on Twitter anymore, but when I was on Twitter, he was one of my favorite follows. Because every morning he'd be like, hey, it's Monday. Go grab life by the ball. Like, it was all like positive shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we could go back to Oasis came around in a time in my life where I think I needed more positive stuff.
When did you get into them, you think?
Like, I always liked them, but they were never a band I seeked out and played. My younger brother...
You know what? Actually,
shockingly enough, who's only 27, 28, my younger brother, he got me back in him.
You
got the date on it? Nice. I actually just got the Snoopy tattoo today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
I cleaned up. You know, they tell you don't need to keep the wrapping on as long as you used to.
Yeah.
Because usually, I remember seeing friends with tattoos that had wrapping on for like 2 days.
Yeah, where it's like a pouch of blood.
Yeah. And so they told me, they're like, no, keep it on for a couple hours and wash it, put the lotion, do that, let it breathe. I'm like, all right. Anyhow, yeah, so my brother got me back into Oasis, and then about a year after he got me back into it, would have been like 2015, because he was learning guitar and he was playing a bunch of different songs. I'm like, I don't know that one. How do I not know that one? I think he was playing like I don't fucking remember, but Then the documentary came out. We watched the documentary together.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I forgot. They have so many amazing. I didn't know all their B-sides are fucking great.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Noel even later admitted, I was a fucking idiot back then because he was like, the head of the studio, this guy Alan McGee, or the head of the Creation Records. He would tell him like, hey, you need a B-side for this because we're gonna release this is a single, so write a B-side.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right. And then they released the B-side, or he'd give him the B-side. He's like, this is too good. He's
Yeah.
like, well, it was written as a B-side. A B-side it shall remain. And the guy's like, it's too good. And then Noel said, well, I don't know what to tell you. I don't write shite songs. Like just cocky ass Noel. And then later in life, he was like, yeah, I fucked up. Those all should have been A-side. That should have been the 4th album. That could have been,
Not to get extra cheesy, but you got Liam's birthday. I got Noel's.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah. But yeah, dude,
Liam's the man. Noel's great too.
Yeah, no, dude. Similar thing happened to me. I mean, I mentioned on here before, but I don't even care. Like, I grew up a metalhead. I was just an outsider.
I was a grunge kid.
Yeah, I mean, I like my, English was my second language. I didn't learn it till I was like 12. I was always an outsider. I was kind of like I played football because I was fat. Like I literally I never watched football. The last fucking Super Bowl I remember was like Broncos versus Packers.
Yeah.
Fucking
96 or something, 98. Yeah, 98 maybe.
Right when Blitz was
yeah, great game.
And so like so I just never fit in, and so I listened to a lot of angry music, and I remember like this haunted me forever. Like I the record store Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
I remember
Harlem and Irving.
Yeah. I remember I used to go there every fucking pre-internet every weekend and check out the new records and shit. And I don't know if you remember this. The rave in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
They used to do this kind of like how comedy clubs do, where like if the tickets aren't selling, they'll give you free tickets, but you got to cover it with the 2 drinks.
Yeah.
So at the rave, when they were like, oh, these tickets aren't going to sell, they'll give you it for free, and then they'd make you buy a drink. I remember going in there and seeing a stack of Oasis tickets. And I was like into Slayer and Mayhem and fucking Dillinger Escape Plan. I'm like, fuck these dorks. And I tore up the whole thing and threw it. And I'm like, I'm never going to fucking regret this. And sure enough, I became the biggest fan.
Yeah.
But I became the biggest. It's funny that you say that like the whole uplifting thing. My whole family died off in 2020.
Oh, shit, man.
Five people all in 1 year. Like it's just
so
me and my brother
dude.
left.
That sucks, man.
Yeah, dude, and it was hard to deal with.
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry about that, man.
It's all good. I mean, a lot of people would tell me, they're like, because I just started writing really dark shit about it, just really dark jokes, and they're like, dude, don't do this because people feel bad for you. Like they're not gonna laugh, And just one day, I remember, like I told this before, but I'll just tell you again. Like I long story short, I remember going to sleep one day. And I was singing this song, and the long and short of it was, my mom would have these bouts of crying, and I wasn't close to her. She was like a diagnosed narcissist, and so she would play victim a little bit, And my therapist is like, dude, just cover your bases, because she had ALS, so he's like, you don't want to be with that guilt, so cover your bases. Try to help her, try and like have a sort of like forgiveness for the shit she did. She didn't want to do any of it. She went to the grave like a Nazi, like, fuck you, you deserved everything you got, she would like tell people I'm faking epilepsy for attention type shit. Man. So I remember going to sleep, and I woke up with this tune in my head, and I started recording it because it was like lockdown and shit, and dude, it was Stop Crying Your Heart Out.
Oh, wow.
And I never heard that song. I heard it maybe once. That was the most supernatural shit I ever heard.
Yeah.
And that's when I started getting into them. And dude, that shit got me out of depression. I was like, holy fuck. I mean, this is so uplifting. Like I don't know any other uplifting band that's like fucking rock and roll,
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I remember when the Cubs I was in New York, in Brooklyn. I had this meeting for this writing packet thing I submitted for Bleacher Report. They're going to do like a sports comedy late night type of thing. I never took off. And they were looking for comedians who knew sports. So I submitted a writing pack, and I was one of the 10 packets they chose. So I'm thinking, oh, this is fucking awesome. So I flew out to New York for this meeting. And then Game 7 of the World Series was happening that night.
Yeah.
And I had friends in Brooklyn doing a show, and I was going to do a set and then watch the game there at the same time. So when the Cubs fucking blow the lead, and the game's tied in like the 8th, and then they go into the rain delay. Everyone knew I was such a diehard Cubs fan. They just stayed the fuck away from me. And there was this great picture of me sitting on the stage because they dropped down this massive TV in the back of the room.
Yeah.
So when people saw the picture, they later were like, "I don't get you were on the stage. I thought you were watching the game." I'm like, "The stage is in the back, in the front, and then the TV was in the back." I had my head down during like the commercial break, and I had AirPods in.
Yeah.
And people jokingly said, "You look like Eminem," because I have my Cubs hat on, but it's like the photo's like dark, so you can't really tell it's a Cubs hat. And someone asked me, "What were you listening to?" And I go, "I was listening to Live Forever."
Yeah.
I was listening to Oasis, Live Forever. I was listening to that whole Definitely Maybe album because I'm like, I got to listen. I got to change the juju.
Yeah.
Right. So because I wasn't listening to music before, but right when that fucking happened, the rain delay, and then everything came back on, I just put those AirPods in and just watched the game. But I had Oasis playing.
Yeah.
And then when that little dribble over to Chris Bryant and he fires it over and the Cubs won, I take the fucking AirPods out and just start going fucking insane.
Yeah.
Jumping up and down like I had won the World Series.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, man, Oasis helped turn the tide for me.
Yeah.
Like
dude,
you needed that. You need to be in a good headspace.
It's so fucking wild how many people it's helped. Also, I was gonna say when it's a half hour before you gotta go, I wanna like interview you. So it's like 7:10.
Okay.
So like maybe 7:30 I start like doing the interview. Is that cool?
Maybe we start a little bit sooner than that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool. Cause I know we've been going for a while, but yeah, I'll start pretty soon. No, I was gonna say they you know what's kind of cool too. Did you hear about the what are they called, the Definitely Afflex? Do you know what that is?
No.
So like what's cool is you know how they were talking about like we came from Manchester, and you know why that's a world like a what is it called, like a blue collar town,
Yeah,
right?
working class.
Because they fucking it got destroyed by World War II.
That's right.
And they never rebuilt it. Like you see people like Liam and Noel when they're kids and they're like playing in rubble, you know, because they never. It was sort of like the forgotten part of
England.
You
Yeah.
know, they didn't give a fuck about them. So definitely Afflex. It's like this family of people in Manchester who they collect all this shit that is Oasis, and they toured with the tour. So I got to see that, and dude, I was kind of okay. So here's what's funny: the day before the show at Soldier Field, I was doing Comedy Bar, the Tomato Throw show with Bob Keane.
Yeah.
And I'm walking up to Comedy Bar, and I see this kid. Like I have a step kid. He's 18. I see like this 18-year-old, head to toe in Oasis, bucket hat, the soccer jersey, fucking tracksuit with Oasis. I'm like, it'd be really weird if you're not going to the show. What's going on here? You know?
Yeah.
He was just divvying on the scooter to every major hotel to try and meet him. And I'm like, well, dude, if you fucking catch him, message me because I'm going to do this comedy show. So let me fucking know. And then I hear about this Definitely Afflex. Have you ever heard of Burton's Place?
Yeah, the bar. Yeah, it's a good bar.
Yeah. So they set up there. They had all this cool memorabilia. I took it. The couch that's on the cover of Definitely Maybe.
That's right. I had a friend who went the night before. for
Yeah.
that. Yeah, the pop-up thing.
Yeah.
that looked really cool.
Yeah, they had the couch. They had like 7 different like parka autographed, jersey autographed, 5 different guitars. And then the coolest thing I thought they had that for the Wonderwall single, they had the the cover has the canvas
Yeah.
that the girl's looking through. You could hold it up and take a picture with it.
Oh, that's really cool.
And during the time that I was there, Noel went into Chicago Music Exchange and the kid met him. I was so fucking pissed, dude. Like,
Damn.
But I'm like, hey, whatever. But
Well, Liam was walking around Wicker Park because I saw some pictures. I follow like 19 Oasis fan accounts on Instagram.
Yeah.
And one of them said Liam petting dogs in Chicago. And I could tell he's right by the Den Theater.
Yeah.
on
Oh, I
Milwaukee.
saw
And
that
I was
shit.
like, fuck, because I was near there earlier that day.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit.
I'm
I
like,
could've saw
fuck, we're
that.
comedians. Why didn't we
Damn
run
it.
into it,
I know. I was so bummed about that because I would have loved to have met him. Because I got a buddy, my friend Steve Burnham I mentioned earlier. He's a massive Oasis fan too. Massive. He saw them.
Yeah.
He saw them in London and he saw them in LA. And I got another buddy, my buddy Jeff. He saw them in Edinburgh and then he saw them in Chicago too. But anyway, he had met them in an airport once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said Noel was nice. Like he got a picture of Noel. Noel was just like, "Oh yeah, nice to meet you," but didn't really talk too much.
Yeah.
He said Liam was so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Liam was like overly like, hey, yeah, what's up, man? Just really fucking nice guy.
Yeah.
He didn't say no.
awesome.
He didn't say Noel wasn't nice. He just said Noel wasn't as talkative.
Yeah.
He might have had some shit going on. That's the thing too. I try to tell people, I'm like, if you meet a celebrity and they don't kiss your ass, just they're a person too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
You never know. They might just got off the phone and they lost an uncle, and then you're in their face being like, I want a selfie. It's like, all right, chill. I'll get you. Hold on. You know?
The last thing I was going to tell you, like Oasis related. Have you ever heard of Oasis?
What is it, AI songs that do Oasis or something?
Dude, it's even crazier. So, like a year before they announced the reunion, right? There was a band called in England. They're called Breezer, and they were a cover band in England. They would just play like dress up as Oasis and play Oasis songs. But they were like, dude, we've been fucking waiting so long for a reunion. They wrote an entire album in the style of Definitely Maybe, and then they basically asked for permission to AI Liam's voice in. So they actually wrote the music, but then they AI Liam, and it's actually really good.
Is it really good?
It's
Nice.
it's just called Oasis, and I felt weird because
name.
I thought the whole thing was AI, and I'm like, why am I getting emotional to a robot? This is fucking Terminator shit. But yeah, man. So like I was gonna say, I see you got a lot of Irish. Do you have family in Ireland?
Yeah, I still do have some. They're more distant now. On my grandmother's side, she came. She was born like in Chicago, but her parents came over like 6 months before she was born here. So my great grandmother, who came over in like 1929 or something,
To Chicago?
yeah, to Chicago. She was like the youngest of like 9, and her one other brother came over later on, but 7 of her siblings never left Ireland. So that whole side of the family's still there.
Yeah.
So I'll have, when I was last in Ireland, I met up with one like great uncle, but a lot of my cousins go there all the time, and they'll like meet up and like, check out the farm and stay with them and hang out with them and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. And so yeah, I've got this is called a Celtic knot. And it's my children's names on it. This is an Irish phrase that just means like big love or great love, gra more. This is gra more. So like instead of raw, but it's pronounced gra, and then that's more. It's in the Irish language. And then this is the Chicago Park District logo. It's for my dad. So all my siblings, this was my first tattoo. I got this a year and a half ago. My siblings all got tattoos after my dad died, but my sister's already had a bunch of tattoos.
Yeah.
Then my brother started getting them in secret, basically, because he's like, "Oh, I got this one for dad and this one for dad." I'm like, "Why didn't you tell me? I might have gone and matched with you." You know?
Yeah.
So then I was like, "All right, well, I got to come up with something original." And he worked for the Park District, and I always loved going to work with him when I was a little kid because I'm just running around a park all day. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the Irish stuff. This is the group Kneecap. I like them a lot. They're real like. They want a united Ireland, and they're trying to revive the Irish language because my great grandmother came over speaking it. She spoke English, but it was her
They're a
second
band?
language. Yeah, they're amazing, dude. I love them so much. They're a punk like hip hop band. So
Okay.
they rap. Their songs are rapped simultaneously in Gaeilge, which is what they call the Irish language. Americans call it Gaelic, but Gaelic's just the name of the 3 languages because
Okay.
there's Scots Gaelic, but with their accent they call it Gaelic. Manx, and then Irish, which Manx is Isle of Man.
What is Solancha? What is that?
Oh, slancha?
Yeah.
That means to your health.
But what is that like?
It's just a toast phrase, like salut in Italian. But
is
slancha's
it
Irish.
universal in the 3?
Probably. It could be, because like the Celtic languages also include Wales, Welsh, and then there's a couple other languages, Cornish, and then Breton, which is like part of the Brittany region of France.
I only know Breton from Skyrim.
Yeah, right. So yeah, they're all like part of the same family, but they're a little different. But there's similarities between Scots Gaelic and Irish Gaeilge. Anyway, so they're rapping in 2 languages simultaneously. I came across them like a few years ago, and I just like what they stand for. They've got fucking attitude. They got humor.
Yeah.
They use their platform for good reason. And I saw them at Concord Music Hall in Chicago, which is across from the Lincoln Lodge, last September, so a little over a year ago. And it was the highest energy show I've ever been to in my life. Everyone there was super fucking cool. It's one of those things, people are moshing,
Yeah.
but anytime someone fell, everyone's like, stop, 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 stop. We picked that person up. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and it was fucking going great again. It was great. But also this has some like IRA background to it. My great grandfather was in the IRA, and he actually died at the age of 42. He was in a English prison and got out. I don't know how he got out. He might have escaped, but he came over to America, and my great grandmother followed him over here.
Oh,
It was
wow.
like that's love, you know.
That's
and
fucking cool.
But they did like hunger strikes and stuff like that. So he had all this organ failure, and he was sick like, basically the entire time he was in America, and he died at 42.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and so my grandma was 6 years old when her dad died, and she had a younger brother that was 4 and a younger sister that was 2. So this
Wow.
was during the Depression. So
That's
I've
cool.
always admired the hell out of my grandmother, just for what a strong human being she was to deal with all that during the Depression.
Yeah.
You know, being the daughter of immigrants. And
You know what I never knew until it just popped on my YouTube algorithm. So there's this guy. Have you ever heard of this YouTube channel? It's called like Terry Miles.
sounds familiar.
He looks like you know how like movies they always like cast a handsome character for the real person,
Yeah.
and you see the real person, they're ugly. He looks like the real version Austin Powers.
Really?
And this Terry Miles guy, he goes, I didn't know this, that like he goes all over Great Britain, like England, Scotland, just everywhere, Wales, like, and he plays like, it's called like honky tonk, like almost like who sings that Great Balls of Fire? Is that Jerry Lewis?
Jerry Lee Lewis. I
Jerry Lee
believe,
Lewis.
Yeah.
It's like that type of piano. That's what he plays. But he goes to all these old pubs that have been around since like fucking medieval times. So he'll go to like all these pubs that have been there since like whatever I don't know, 1700s.
Yeah.
And that piano has been there since that time.
Oh, wow.
And he'll just play for the pub like that night, and he just visits all of them. It's kind of cool.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, there's a lot of great history over there, especially
Yeah.
if you like pubs and singing and
Yeah.
song, because it's this like, there wasn't a lot for poor people to do other than drink and sing.
Yeah.
And that's what Cigarettes and Alcohol was about, which is another great
Yeah.
Oasis song. It's like, this is what we had. You
Yeah.
have nothing, that's what you have.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of great, I'm sure, Poland obviously says it struggles over its history. So I'm sure there's a lot of great, stories of guys getting together, drinking what vodka was probably the big drink there, right? And singing songs to pass the time.
You know what's crazy is the nuttiest satanic bands are from Poland because of the repression of Catholicism. Like you could still get charged with like blasphemy in Poland.
Wow.
So there's like some of the craziest like metal Satanist bands are from Poland. And I think that's the thing that I talked about before on here, that like what's wild is like I'll tell people that like people find it weird that like Polish people, like a lot of metal bands from Europe, they'll sing about World War II and Nazis, and it's like, because metal is devastating. So what's the most devastating thing that happened to us? And a lot of like Polish people, like they'll fucking find like Nazi shit in their own garden, like a knife with a fucking swastika, like because
It wasn't that long ago when you think about it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what, 70 years ago, 80 years ago now?
And all the concentration camps were in Poland.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you, I watched a whole bunch of documentaries on it, but basically Poland got crushed by both sides. Like they were like, okay, this is the first country we're going to take over from the communist Russia to like the Nazis. They're like, we're going to make this ours. And then Germany won. And so he made it all concentrated. And it's funny, like how they looked at Adolf. They were like, this little fucking angry midget, he really hates Jews. Because we it's funny how they mention it in documentary, because they're like, all the other generals were kind of like, we just kind of want to win this war, and you're kind of like fetishizing torturing these people.
Yeah.
Like, what is with this little guy? He's really butthurt, but yeah. So you like I was gonna say, so when did you start comedy?
Shit, man, like 17 years ago. I was just
wow.
thinking about the math on that. Yeah, I've been doing it for 17 years now. I started it shortly after.
What is that, like
2008 was really like my first year, full
Holy
year.
shit. So you were like 22?
About, going on 23, I think it was. So I was 23 for most of that. Because like I started, but I was so stupid and naive. I didn't know that you're supposed to be doing it like every day, basically, or as often as you can. Because I remember I would pop by a few I'd pop by this one open mic like every Thursday, and I wasn't even going every Thursday.
Was that your home mic? Like
it was the first mic I started. It was called Pressure Cafe. It was in Rogers Park.
Okay.
Now it's, I don't know.
I was
going to
ask
now.
that, so that's
it's
cool.
not there anymore. It's something. I mean, it's still a business, but it's changed names. But it was a pool hall cafe place for a long time, and it only changed over like 3-4 years ago to something else. It's like called Whiskey Girl or something. It's like some bar now, and in my brain, it was like, all right, comedy on Thursday, Friday's date night.
Yeah,
Saturday
yeah.
I go to whatever bars have the best deals that my friends all want to go to. Monday, softball. Tuesday, we go play darts. Like, it's just in my brain. That's how I was as a young 20-something.
Yeah.
And then I remember talking to another comic. He's like, oh, dude, it's a really good mic? You should check out Cork Lounge on Tuesdays. And then Wednesdays, there's this mic over here that's really sweet. And then this bar Shuba's on Sundays. And I was like, oh, all right. Yeah. I mean, I like this one, though. And he's like, no, yeah, this one's awesome. But, like, this one, and I was just like, yeah, I think I'll stick to this one. He's like, you should be going up are you only going up once a week? And I'm like, oh, no. He's like, dude, to be good at this, you got to fucking go up every night. I just didn't compute that because I didn't come from like an art background.
Yeah, yeah.
I came from like sports, blue collar, that kind of shit.
How long did you go once a week only? Was it like a year?
Less than that.
Okay.
It wasn't quite a full, it was like maybe half a year.
Yeah.
And then I threw myself into it like almost too much. I started running a weekly show. I started going up like 7 nights a week. And then you realize you get burnt out and get breaks. So yeah, I've been doing it for.
Do you remember
17 years or so? 18?
I know people say like there's generations of like what was your crew? Do you remember like anybody that like started around your same time that?
Yeah, there's still a few of them. Adam Burke, Danny Callis isn't really doing stand up, but he's been hitting mics lately again. But he's the guy who, like the main dude at Comedians You Should Know, which is the big independent show in Chicago. Joe Fernandez was a little bit after me. As far as comics that are still in Chicago, Jonah Jerkins was a little bit after me. Who else? Kristen Toomey, Kelly Howard, Calvin Evans was shortly after me. He's still in the scene. So yeah, there's a good amount. There's probably a few names I'm forgetting right now, so apologies to them. And then I'm still friends with a lot of comics that went on to New York and LA and did some great stuff. I had a nice little run opening for my friend Lisa Traeger, who's got a Netflix special. My friend Mateo Lane, who has a Netflix special. That dude's got like over 1 million followers on every platform. He sells that everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then my friend Megan Gailey, and there's just I'm gonna miss names there too. The list goes on and on of these great comics. I was fortunate enough. I had a really good scene. The scene's so much bigger now. Better in some ways. There's just more clubs. When I was starting out, there was Zanies and the Improv Way out in Schaumburg, and Lincoln Lodge was in the back of a fucking pancake house, and they would do once a week. Friday,
wow.
Or maybe they did Friday and Saturdays, but
Was it still that same owner?
Mark Geary, the same guy running it. Yeah,
He's like English, right?
yeah, English guy. Yeah. Yes, he was at Oasis. So yeah, and then there was some good independent shows. Chicago Underground Comedy was the big one, and Lincoln Lodge were the two big independent ones.
Side note, what's fucking crazy? I've been so obsessed with ChatGPT lately. You know that like if you write the right prompt, it'll show you. So I literally, the day of the show, I wrote, if I want to get to the front row in the middle, what is the best gate to go through? And ChatGPT drew me a map.
It's nice.
Isn't that
I gotta
wild?
start using that a little bit. I've played with it once or twice, but for things like that, it's good for. I just don't want it to replace art.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I was gonna ask you, like, so when you started, did you have? I always ask this, like, as far as like back then versus now, what do you think like were your top 3 like influences to get into comedy? Do you know what you liked back then?
Yeah, dude, I had a weird influence that nobody realized until I said it, and then people were like, "Oh shit!"
Was it Dane Cook?
I was Seinfeld meets Dane Cook.
Okay.
No bullshit.
Yeah.
I had jokes that were set up in Seinfeld style, like very observational.
Yeah.
But I swore a lot because I swore a lot as a person. And I moved a little bit more, but I didn't do like the over enunciation thing that Dane Cook does, where it's like, so I had an ice cream cone or whatever, how he overly enunciates. But I definitely had a lot of nostalgic jokes, because I wasn't that far removed from being in high school and grade school. So I remember I had a whole chunk that I remember one thing led to another. Because before I did stand up, I did sketch writing. I took sketch writing classes at Second City and improv classes. And I remember I had a joke about Simon Says. Remember that game?
Yeah.
So I'd be like, who is this Simon? And why is he such a demanding prick? Like, that's Seinfeld right there, basically.
Yeah.
And then I'd get a joke about Duck, Duck, Goose and how I would just get pissed off and tackle the guy. So then I would mimic tackling someone, which would have been very like Dane Cook.
Yeah.
The way he would fucking use his body and be he was incredibly physical comic, Dane Cook. But those two, and then Louis C.K. kind of came up a little bit afterwards. Then I started liking some silly guys because there's a silly side of me that I still have never really gotten to put on stage.
Yeah.
It comes out when I do crowd work.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, when I write my material, and I don't really write, I used to write, but now I think and then just go up there and talk about it.
Yeah.
And then I kind of remember the bullet points, and then I just keep repeating it until I just know the joke. I know where to land it and all that shit. Because there was a time where I was like, oh, I like Daniel Tosh, like Mike Birbiglia, I like, Sarah Silverman, I like these people. And then I got really into Bill Burr. But then I stopped listening to him because I'm like, oh, we're way too similar backgrounds, just being angry redheads. I don't want people thinking I'm ripping him off. We're just similar. But that definitely in the early days, those were everyone I named were like the main people.
Who do you think? Have you ever opened up to anybody that you're like fucking like really look up to?
Yeah, I mean, I liked Maron a lot. And I got to open for Mark Maron. That was cool. Awesome. That was really cool. That was like way back in 2011 at the main stage, which doesn't really do comedy anymore. I remember Laugh Factory, its first year, I was one of the first few comics to become like regulars there when the Laugh Factory first opened in Chicago. So that was great. And Dave Koechner came in, and I love the movie Anchorman. Mm-hmm. And he's an Anchorman. So I was like, oh, please let me get on that one. And I got on that one. Yeah, man. I mean, fuck, there's probably a lot that I'm just blanking on right now. Hannibal Buress was the band in Chicago when I started. So I remember when he asked me to open for him, that felt like, oh shit, I must be doing something right.
Oh shit.
Because he just hit me up out of nowhere being like, hey, do you want to
awesome.
open for me at this theater in Madison? Do you want to open for me at Eastern Illinois University? And then a couple other spots. I was like, oh shit, this is great. And then I started working with some more headliners by doing like the bigger clubs like the Improv and Zanies and stuff. And the headliners I worked with liked me enough to start taking me. Like Roy Wood Jr. I opened for a bunch. Steve Byrne, who I mentioned earlier. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anyone like ultimate. Bill Burr, I got to meet and hang out with, and that was awesome. I played hockey with him though. I never got to share the stage with him. Steve Byrne's a big hockey guy.
Yeah,
being friends with the Blackhawks, and Bill Burr loves hockey, and so Steve hit me up.
Played hockey with him.
Yeah, Steve hit me up in 2013 when there used to be a Just for Laughs festival in Chicago. It was the TBS Just for Laughs festival, and I got fortunate enough to be on a couple of the shows as part of the fest. And Steve was doing something as part of the fest, and Bill Burr was coming in town to do like a thing with him and Jim Norton and David Tell at the Chicago Theater. It's called like the Antisocial Network. I think that's what they called the show.
Yeah.
And Steve was like, hey, we're going to play hockey tomorrow. You want to come? Ice hockey at Johnny's West on Madison. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm there. I can't skate for shit. I love the sport. Yeah. And I was at the time roommates with this dude, James Brooks, who was a buddy of mine who played minor league hockey. So I used his old pads and stuff like that. And I showed up and they let me wear a Blackhawks practice jersey, and I'm wearing a helmet that looks like it's too small for my big fucking head. Me and you both have fucking massive heads, so we got that. We both have that curse. And so and right when I got on the ice, Burr skated up to me being like, dude, I just learned the game like a year ago. So he knew immediately I wasn't that good.
Yeah.
And so he was trying to encourage me. And then we just started talking sports the whole time. He knew I was a comic though.
Yeah.
Because Steve told me later when we were on the parking garage saying bye, because Burr said, you know anywhere I could pop in tonight? I'm like, Zany's actually is usually pretty packed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I think it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. He's like, cool, yes, I'd like to run my shit. And I go, you know what? I'll hit up my buddy Pat McGann. And Pat McGann's huge now. And I texted McGann being like, hey, Bill Burr wants to pop in tonight. What should I tell him? He's like, tell him to show up. I'm like, all right, cool. And I said, Bill, he said, just pop in at this time. He's like, all right, it's great. Thanks, man.
What
Appreciate it.
What was he running?
He was just practicing his hour before the big theater show they're doing the next day.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were doing the Chicago Theater the next day, and he hadn't gotten on stage in a couple of days, so he just wanted to do like a surprise pop in to work out some shit. Because that's right, kids. Even the fucking big names don't like taking breaks.
Yeah.
Even those big names, they don't like taking too many. Like when I was opening for Mateo Lane, he was running a new hour before he was going to go do this Australian and New Zealand tour. And he was like, I came back to Chicago because I knew I could run the hour a bunch of times. Because I said to him, I'm like, you did the Chicago. Mateo Lane sold at the Chicago Theater last time he was in Chicago. So I'm like, why are you doing Zany's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah.
He's like, because I could do 2 shows a night, sell them all out without hurting my numbers at Chicago Theater.
Yeah.
Because 5 shows at Zany's times 150 people is still less than 1,000 people, where the Chicago Theater fits 3,500.
Yeah.
So he's not really even putting much of a dent into the people who'd see him at the Chicago Theater. So it's not like they're not going to come back and see him again. Anyway, but my buddy Byrne was like, yeah, I told him your Michael Jordan joke. And he thought like, oh, that's fucking hilarious. So like, oh, he did? That's cool. So a year later, Burr's back in town. Steve tells me, hey, we're all meeting over at Tavern on Rush.
Yeah.
I'm already there. I see Burr come in. I look over. I'm thinking, I met him a year ago, one time playing hockey. Will you even remember me? I give him a head nod. He walks right up going like, you see that fucking game tonight? Talking about the NBA. He's like, you cannot tell me the NBA isn't fixed. Fucking bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I saw there was definitely a foul on fucking Horford or whatever there was. And he's like, I know, it's fucking... And I remember just being like, that dude is the shit.
Yeah.
I met him once. He remembered I was a comedian. He remembered I was a sports guy. Came right in as if we left off talking like the day before. But it was really a year before. And goes right into it. And then when I moved to LA, he was on like the 10 o'clock show at Laugh Factory. I was in the midnight, so I got there a little early to check out his set. And then he remembered me again, and we were just talking and having a great time. And he was just like telling me like, oh, some good places to go eat in LA. You know what I mean? Just he's a good dude. I've never gotten open for him though. I got a nice list of really big names that I'm proud of. But yeah, I'm just kind of not remembering them right now off the top of my head. But yeah.
Do you got any goals for like this year or next year?
Well, I got to get my mental health right the rest of this year, but I want to finish out this, we're in the last quarter of 2025 to sound like a businessman. So I restarted my old podcast called the Joe Kilgallon Podcast, which is just me ranting for a while. Once I get it by setup better, because I don't really have a good studio like you have down here, then I want to start having guests on again. Yeah. Because I used to have guests way back before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. I had this comic, James Webb, who's directed like 5 Netflix specials now. He directed Sam Morrill's. Yeah, he was a Chicago guy for a long time. Not a comedian, though, just a guy who would produce and film stuff with people. And he's directed, I think, Sam Morril, Gary Goldman, like the list goes on, all their Netflix specials. I used to do the podcast out of his studio. Mm-hmm. He he was like the producer of it, and then I have guests on, and that was great.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get back to that point, but I want to finish off this year strong, and then just focus on building like my audience.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's why I like this group Kneecap so much. I think subconsciously, maybe not so much on purpose, but subconsciously, I would avoid certain issues because I'm like, I don't want to lose any fans. I kind of was a bitch. I know
what you mean.
I was a bitch, man. I'll admit it. I was a straight up bitch, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Because I had that mentality with cursing. Every now and then you'll see a comedian be like, you should work clean because then you get more opportunities. Yeah. It's like, but to me, you're kind of in it for the wrong reason then. I'd rather be myself and not get every little corporate gig that comes my way.
Yeah.
Because also at the end of the day, if you're offended by the word fuck, I don't want you at my show.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck you're boring. I don't want a boring audience member, even if you were going to pay for a ticket.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel now.
Yeah. You know what? I was talking about this with, do you know Bewee, Brennan Weaver?
Yeah, the dude, he's got tons of tats, right? He's all tatted up, yeah. I didn't know people called him Bewee though. I did a fucking Lake Geneva with him like 3-4 months back, I want to say.
Yeah, I love him. He's like one
nice
of my
guy.
He's great. I like subconsciously on accident became best friends with him nice. Recently, and we were running that show at South Elgin, that Wild Dogs,
Oh yeah.
It went out. They went bankrupt.
Sorry to hear that. I felt bad I had to reschedule on you for that.
No,
it happens. I had a whole headlining weekend.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
You were cool about it.
Dude, it was fucking going. I mean, everything was going way too good. I mean, it was like, dude, we almost like, I'm not even supposed to, I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to announce this, but like, we almost got Ian Fidance there.
Nice.
But we couldn't because of the whole district clause with like him being at Zanies. But like, they were like, if you could sell this out, we'll give you the budget and all this shit. Like, we had the opportunity, but...
I'm sorry to cut you off, but now that you're mentioning podcasts, I've opened for Theo Von.
Yeah.
Theo's a friend. I've opened for Andrew Santino. He's a friend. I've opened for Mark Norman. I guess I'd consider him a friend, kind of a friend. Because when I opened for Mark Norman, it was before he blew up, and then I remember seeing him years later. He did a show I produced in L.A.
Oh.
And so, those are some more current big names I mentioned. I couldn't think of some other ones before.
That's awesome.
When you asked me the question, I'm like, I know I've got a lot of names, but I'm just fucking, my mind's going to shit. It's the fucking side effect of the drug, man. I get a lot of brain fog sometimes from this shit, where I'm just like not thinking straight and I forget things.
But also I think it's like when you get into because I was in bands since I was 15 years old, on and off, and the thing that I love, I mentioned this before about comedy, is like you meet your heroes so quick,
yes,
that you forget, like you know what I mean, like how quickly. I can't explain it. It's like even like say Oasis, right? They still feel like unapproachable, right? Like you'd get starstruck, but it's like how you're saying, you're like, oh yeah, I was, open up for Mark Norman way back, because it's so much more authentic.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about, is like being yourself. Like, so Bewee, I was literally just talking about him today. I had that little, you get that comedy blues where you're like, I don't even know what it is. You're like, how the fuck do I level up? I feel like shit about this. Even though people tell me I'm crushing, and I do have like shows that I'm doing well, you're still like, how long should I fucking do this for? And I want to mention that because me and B, we were talking about like second chances, right? And what he told me, like, he's the most self-aware person that I know. And he's like, Phil, people don't fucking know who you are. And they don't know. He's like, what your thing is. Because me, it's like, I had my whole family die. I got kidnapped. I got abused growing up.
Shit.
So it's like people don't understand that you're like a fucking rescue dog, and he's like, I'm gonna try and domesticate you, you know, and that's what it is. You know, that's what it is. Is like, how do I put this? It's like the shit that the jokes that I write about like, I don't know. I had like a bit about how I was at the same time everyone was telling me wrestling's fake. My dad's beating the shit out of my mom. I'm like, come on. Are you guys rigging this? You know, you gotta get used to his left hook or something. You know, like fucked up shit. But it's just like, I'm not gonna laugh after what I've went through. We're not gonna laugh at the same things. So it's sort of like,
well, that's the one thing that's nice about the internet right now is that there is so many people out there, and you could find your audience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know a lot of comedians will always say, "Oh, it sucks. We have to caption videos now, and we have to become editors, and we have to learn algorithms." I'm like, yeah, but before you had to wait around.
yeah.
So now you have more control. You at least have one hand on the steering wheel. There's still a lot of luck that comes into it. I mean, you talked about that great band that you think is one of the best bands ever that no one's heard of.
Yeah.
I mean, there's every big name comedian will tell you about a comedian that they thought was amazing that no one knows about, that never fucking broke big or whatever like that. So nowadays, though, if you know, I tell young comics, first of all, I say, don't worry about any of that shit for a long time. You're young. The number of comedians, I mean, even you only 3 years in, I know you're at a different age, starting a little bit later and all that, but it's still one of those things where Rodney Dangerfield didn't get big until he was in his 50s. Joey Diaz is probably almost 60. No one knew who he was before he was 45.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have time. It's one of those nice industries where the older we get, almost the funnier we get. It's not like music where a lot of great artists break in their mid-20s because you just, for whatever reason, that's when your brain is the best at it. I think every great album is like the guy who wrote it was 23 or 24. So many of them, right?
And I do like to touch, like I look up to Louis C.K. is like the only comedian I would get a tattoo of. That's how much I fucking love him. And to me, it's like when the shit that I like I have a bit about how what I think Louis does is he does this pyramid of like, you're not supposed to talk about this, but how can I make this funny so that it's okay?
Yeah.
And there's people who need to hear that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You know, like I worked at I have this bit about where like I worked with this guy at Jiffy Lube who he was the biggest piece of shit. I mean, he was like an ex-gang member. He would brag about how he beats his girlfriend.
Jesus.
And then he started talking to me about how like he's thinking about suicide. So I'm just like, how do I talk him into it?
Yeah.
And it's like, people can relate to that. You know, there are people like that where you're just like, dude, maybe it's your time because you're kind of a horrible person.
Yeah, it's a dark, fucked up thought, but people can relate. People will, you know, we know from recent times that when you're a piece of shit and you die, not everyone's going to be like, well, he was once nice to me. No, people are going to be like, fuck you. No, it's, Louis did, that was one thing I couldn't stand. I mean, obviously that whole shit with Louis, what he, you know, was wrong in a lot of ways, of course.
Yeah.
But what I couldn't stand when all that came about was when people were like, I never thought he was funny anyway. I'm like, fuck you. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, you could say, I hate what he did.
Yeah.
But don't deny, like, even like Bill Cosby, massive piece of shit person.
Yeah.
You cannot deny that his first two albums are still hold up as great comedy albums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you know what I quickly wanted to talk about before, like, what's been bothering me recently, I mean, not bothering me, and maybe who the fuck am I? I'm like this newbie, 3 years, whatever. But a lot of people have been going nuts about like that. Like, did you see that viral video? It was called like some shit. It was called like the comedy getting destroyed by the Doomsday Death Cult. Did you hear about that shit?
no.
So now, you know how there was all these like right wing, whatever, fucking like Ben Shapiro types, right? Now there's a lot of YouTube channels that are very like left leaning and shitting on the whole Rogan thing. And the way I look at it, I mean, this is just my opinion. Maybe people will fucking hate this, but the way I look at it is like, okay, so the bros took over Austin, is what you're saying. The bros took over. The drop the R bomb, fuck, everything's gay. Every you know the way I look at it is like, I remember when I got into comedy, going to places like Lincoln Lodge, I was like, as a good comedian, okay, I'm going to a place that's a little left leaning. Maybe I should shit about how I look like I would totally be racist. I should shit on, oh, I got away with January 6th, right? Because I'm knowing my audience. And the way I look at it now is like, if you hate on Austin and Rogan, but you're a good comedian, shouldn't you be able to sort of like calibrate to this bro audience? You know?
I mean, you could if you want to. I mean, that's an interesting point. Like, I think
You know, it's like,
you got to be true to yourself, though, in the same regard.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, even if you making fun of how your appearance is probably something you could joke around about far. I don't think anyone wants to placate towards an audience that they don't feel comfortable with or pander. So I've noticed, and we could all only speak from our own fucking experience and shit like that. I'm sure a lot of them could. I'm sure, like Mark Maron, I know, has been tearing apart the Austin scene. I'm sure he could, but he doesn't want to because it's just not who he is. And if you, authenticity, I think, is more important now than ever. Because there's so many voices out there that if you're not authentic to yourself, people are going to sniff it the fuck out. I could always tell when and this is only personal to me, other people might love it when a guy is, or a male, female comic, non-binary, whatever the fuck it is, when they're like super polished. Meaning there's not there's not a you know. You know what I mean? I speak like Liam Gallagher sometimes. I say you know what I mean a lot. I just do. I would rather, though, hear ums and hear stutters, like, and hear a punchline that I believe is authentic than to hear someone who sounds like a fucking robot up there, knowing that they not only did the same set over and over and over again at open mics and shows, but they probably practiced in their mirror, and they're just so beholden to every word falling on the next word, which matters for some jokes. Like Anthony Jeselnik's a great comedian. He does misdirection. I appreciate what he does, but that's just not my favorite style. I mean, he's brilliant at what he does, of course, and I like when I hear what he says in interviews, but I would never go that way. That's just not for me. So when you ask, like, can't these comics figure out how to make the bros laugh? I'm sure they could, but you know, they might not want bros at their show or whatever. Not that you were saying quite that, but
I mean, like, it's sort of like I had people tell me, like, you got to know your audience. So to me, what that meant was like, okay, I'm gonna do something like riddles, a black mic. Well, then I'm gonna do all my black jokes here. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right.
Type shit. Like as far as like material, you know? Even if you're shit, like even when I do, like if I go somewhere and I see and I do see a shit ton of bros there, like a bunch of guys, backwards hats, they got tap out shirts. I have a whole bit that shits on, like, you know, those free alpha male shirts you get from like gyms and shit. I'm like, this'll shit on them, but it'll make them laugh too.
Well, that's good though. So what I would, if I could rephrase it now that I know exactly what you're talking about, I always had the thing where it's like, all right, because some comics will be like, if I change anything in my set, I'm pandering or placating to them. I would disagree with that in a lot of ways. So if I'm doing a show where I look out the audience and they're all in their fucking 60s and it's a smaller town, I'm not going to open with a joke that I know kills for a city crowd. What I'll do is I'll do a joke of mine. It's still me. I'm not pandering. This is me. But so if I did a show where, like in Austin, where I'm like, all right, I'm doing Austin, and I look out, and it's a lot of backwards hats and tap-out shirts. All right, I'll open with my hangover cure joke. These guys probably drink a lot, and they'll get a kick out of this hangover cure joke. Then from there, once I have them, I will then do the shit I want to do. But that's the thing. You do. It's disrespectful to whoever booked you, and to do a show where you're like, fuck this audience, I'm going to do shit that pisses them off. Because it's like, you could have said no to the gig. You know what I mean? You didn't have to take the gig and then be a fucking bad comedian. Because who are you helping there? They aren't going to change their mind about their views on anything. They're going to think you suck. Because you did suck, and then you're not going to get booked again, and then there's a reputation of you not doing well. So that type of like, oh, I've got that kind of comedic integrity. No, integrity would be saying no to the gig. That would be actual integrity, because you're helping no one Saturday night by being a cunt. You know?
Like you know, I do so like, because I'm like super, I guess you'd say like blue collar type. I do a lot of like gigs towards Rockford, whatever. So like recently, this guy books me in Kankakee. I knew it was going to be trash. I knew it was going to be awful. I show up there and I'm like, I kind of wanted to do like some race stuff, but then I realized, I'm like, oh fuck, these guys are actually racist. So dude, you know what's funny is I started doing this whole bit about how like I'm a cat person. So we'll wrap this up. I'm sorry, man. No, I was just saying that I was like in this crowd where I was like, these guys are actually racist. So any jokes it's not funny because it's true. So I was like, I was going to go into I had this whole bit about how I like don't like dog people because I'm a cat person, whatever. And they actually got like 2 people got severely pissed off. but the rest of the crowd was laughing at it, and it was just I don't know, it was just really funny. Like I did not think that somebody racist would get that much rage out of like dog stuff, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's something too, like where
Like it's just like something that I didn't know. You know, in 2025, everything is so fucking polarizing. Like it's just I mean now it's what, Tylenol, right?
well, I know, but and then you realize it's fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Like if you do, I remember a friend of mine did a show for a guy who was pretty big from the Austin scene, and you know, he's like, dude, we're not one of those woke bitch crowds. You can talk about whatever the fuck you want. And the guy's like, oh, cool, I got all these abortion jokes. And the guy's like, ooh, I don't know about that though. And it's like, you just say I can talk about everything I want. He's like, yeah, but my audience is pretty conservative. They might be offended by it. It's like, okay, well, so everyone gets offended then, is your point, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, I always wanted to comedy classes. I don't begrudge anyone who teaches them or takes them. I just think a lot of them are kind of doing it wrong. I don't think you could truly teach someone how to be funny, but you could teach them a little structure and a little way of philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Yeah.
Where I've got good friends who I think are hilarious, and there are times where I want to be like, hey, you're going up tonight? Let me see your set list. Yeah, you're not opening with that one. We're going to put that one here.
Yeah.
We're going to bring this joke up a little bit further. We're going to, you know, because I have a friend similarly who's such a funny comedian. I think he gets in his own head, though, and he has a joke about how he hates when dogs are at bars.
Yeah.
And the joke's funny. The problem is you can't open with it. They got to get to like you first.
Yeah.
This country likes dogs more than people.
Yeah.
This country likes animals more than people.
Mm-hmm.
Here's spoiler alert, anyone who's never seen Sopranos. I'm watching season 4 of Sopranos. The one guy, Ralphie, he kills a 20-year-old woman early on because she slapped him. Like, beats her to death.
Yeah.
They don't kill him for that. But then he ends up killing a horse, and Tony fucking killed him for that.
Yeah.
You kill a horse, I'm fucking whacking you.
Yeah.
But you killed the girl, I'm pissed. But right, you're a high earner, I'll look the other way.
Yeah.
And so I remember telling him, I'm like, dude, it's a really good joke. And even dog people will see your point, but it's not an opener. They don't know who the fuck you are yet, man.
Yeah.
You gotta, like, I remember someone saying it once, Chappelle maybe, it's like you're entering their living room, essentially. Mm-hmm. If you walk into someone's living room, you don't just go right for your Hitler joke because they're like, what the fuck? You fucking ease into it a little bit. I'm not saying you do shticky bullshit, but like find something that's relatable to them that they could all get behind, and then you could go in the other directions because now they trust you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've done like gun jokes where I've had conservatives laughing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I've done jokes, you know, where I've had the left laughing where I'm making fun of them a little bit. And it's because you establish yourself up top of being like, hey, I know what the fuck I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I come up with confidence. I you know, and confidence doesn't mean fucking, hey, look at me. It means whatever you're doing, you could, if you're one of those quiet Mitch Hedberg type one-liner, real soft-spoken, you could do that with confidence.
Yeah.
You could do any style you are. I think too many people think confidence means you're fucking Zach Morris or you're fucking like, you know, someone with a massive swagger like Liam. You could be confident. You could be Tom York confident. There's different types of confidence. Just whatever you're doing, own what you're fucking doing. And then you could start to get away with stuff because then the audience trusts you and they will go on that fucking ride with you. But if you come up there, they don't know you from Adam. You know, it's not your audience. You're part of a 7-comic showcase. You're going up third, doing your 10, 12 minutes, and your first 2 minutes is trashing something that's universally loved. Then you're going to have some problems. That's just what I've noticed. So when you change your order, you could still do the same 10 minutes you do anywhere, but you're just fucking with the order a little bit. Then it's all good there. And I think that's totally smart, and it's a good way to do comedy.
I came up with this formula where I was like 30% of it just has to be right off the top, me self-deprecating.
Self-deprecation is a good thing to open with. Yeah,
it's got to do it because I've had like, you know, I don't know, like I look like the bad guy in every fucking 90s movie or you know, type shit. So it's just like you got to let them know, hey, I might be a bad guy, but I'm like stoop kid's afraid to leave his stoop. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's a great thing too, because as long as you're saying that with belief, and authenticity, then it's great. With self-deprecation stuff. And you're a big Conan fan, watch every Conan late night. So when I was living in LA, I realized late night isn't for me. But I was curious about because I had a lot of friends who were starting to get late night spots, and Conan was my favorite. I grew up loving Conan, so I'm like, what are they looking for? And I'd met the booker of Conan a million times, the guy JP Buck, nice dude, and so I was like, I at least know him, so I could probably submit something to him, at least watch it. And I was watching over and over again. I'm like, everyone's opening joke was either about what they looked like or about like their name. It was like an introduction joke. A great friend of mine, Megan Gailey. She did Conan. Her opening joke was about, my name's Megan. That makes sense. I look like a dumb white girl. That's a dumb white girl name. Like, this comic, Ian Carmel. He did a joke about how his name sounds like he's a British chocolate thief, Ian Carmel, right?
Yeah.
I remember this comic, John Roy. He wears hoodies a lot, so he made fun of that. And, they all kind of go up there with this self-deprecating opener of either how stupid their name is or their background or what they look like.
Yeah.
And then they go into their thing. That's just kind of the late night style. I had a problem doing that. Because I just never did those type of jokes, so I worked on them. And I worked on doing like, I look like the type of guy that's going to flirt with your mom. I look like the type of guy that's going to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they did okay, but they never. Finally, I had a friend of mine, this guy, Mick Betancourt, one of the greatest dudes ever, old school Chicago guy. He actually is a producer on the show Reacher. I don't know if you know the show Reacher. It's on Amazon Prime. Fucking awesome show. And he was a producer on Law and SVU. He's a big dramatic writer, even though he started as a comedian. Yeah. And I said to him, how'd you get into dramatic writing? He goes, it's easier to make people cry than it is to make them laugh. Yeah. He fell into it. He just fell into dramatic writing, but he still does stand up from time to time. And he had Comedy Central credit. He saw me doing that, and after my set, I was at the Hollywood Improv. He goes, "Yo, let's go get a fucking like some ice cream or some shit." I don't even know what he said. Yeah. And so we went to some diner, get pancakes. I think that's what he said. And he goes, "When I saw you 6 months ago, you were on a lineup of fucking heavyweights in this scene, and you fucking blew so many of them out of the water. I saw you tonight, and I didn't recognize you as a comic." He goes, "What were you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm trying to formulate my set to be like one of the late night sets." He goes, "Listen, man, there's so much you can't control in this industry. And if you're going to fail being you. Don't fail being someone you're not. That's not you. Yeah. Be your fucking self. And if that opportunity comes along, great. But if it doesn't, so what, dude? You're a foul-mouthed Irish Catholic boy from the northwest side of Chicago. Yeah. You talk shit. You are authentically you. And what I saw tonight was not you being authentically you. Right? I'm not saying, but and then it was about what we were talking about before. It's like, yeah, if you're getting hired to do a corporate gig for a bunch of money for 800 douchebags at some fucking bank, fucking clean it up and take the check. But if you're trying to present yourself think about it, even if you got that Conan being someone you're not, it's going to come across. You're not going to build the audience you want. You're going to build a different audience. Like, think about the long game. Yeah, there's too many people who want to take shortcuts. They want to be famous instantly, and then they sacrifice themselves and their talent because, starting stand-up comedy is scary, and you're going to get blowback from certain people being like, comedy. We all want to. Like, I realized the only reason I even wanted a late night was because I have family members who know that's a big deal. Yeah, I didn't really. What do I want to do? A fucking 4.5 minute clean set for that's not my style. Yeah, but the only reason I wanted it was so that my parents could be like, he did this. Yeah, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for them. Yeah, which isn't a bad thing, I guess. But at the end of the day, it's not being true to yourself.
Can I ask you how many times you hit a mic now?
Well, before recent events, I had to kind of, I've been having a bad year mental health wise. I talked about it on my recent podcast, and so I've slowed down. But the first 5 months of 2025, I would probably have 4 to 5 booked paid spots, and then the nights I didn't have paid spots, or even the nights I had paid spots, I'd pop on an open mic afterwards. So I'd probably go to 3 or 4. I was going to the first 4 or 5 months of the year. I would go to Will's on Sundays pretty frequently. I'd go to Easy Bar on Wednesdays. Easy Inn. There's Easy Bar and Easy Inn. Yeah. And then Shuba's I'd pop into every now and then. That's a Thursday night one. I checked out that Rabbit Hole mic. There was a handful. I saw you at Monsieur Murphy's a few times. Yeah. Remember we had a cigarette outside Monsieur Murphy's that once or twice. Will Cunniff, what's his last name? Cunnington. Sorry, fucking blanked on his name. Nice, good dude. In the Laugh Factory mic, I'd pop by. Yeah. Which I actually feel is unfair. Hey, veteran comedians, I'm looking at you with this one. Too many veterans are using that because they get a crowd. And to me, it's like, you're a paid regular here. Yeah, yeah. I felt bad the couple times I went in there. I only did that with Mike 3 or 4 times because it's like, and when I walked in, they're like, "Oh, we'll put you up in 5." And I'm kind of like, don't these people line up all day for this fucking mic? Yeah, dude. You know what? And I'm here Saturday night. I don't need to be taking the stage time from other people who are trying to get in.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the immigrant in me of like, I'll have the scraps, whatever you guys got, whatever leftovers you got, I'll have. But like, yeah, I have heard like, cause every time I do that whole Tuesday run where it's like, you sign up at Laugh Factory, TBD with Will Cunnington, Harrigan's, and then go back around to
Yeah.
And it's just like, I notice every time I didn't know this, that like, first of all, the Laugh Factory fairs, they get to bump whenever they want.
Yeah.
The people who work there, they get to go up whenever they want. And I'm like, oh, that's why I'm number 18 all the time,
Yeah.
But either way, the audience is always, it's a general audience, so you get the best gauge. I keep saying, I know I'm 3 years in, but I become so jaded with like dive bars where nobody's paying attention, and it's like, I don't mean to judge, but it's like, the people that are at a dive bar, it's like, this guy, oh, his wife cheated on him, so he's drinking himself silly. This guy just drinks because that's all he's got after work, So it's just like, you gotta, whatever.
That's just part of it, man.
Yeah,
I had to deal with that. Everyone gets annoyed with that, and then it's tough to do, but you have to learn to accept it. And then you talked about earlier, like, the feelings of like the comedy blues. I've learned to accept that too, because even no matter what you do as a comedian, even the best comedians, the biggest names in the world, they'll eat shit from time to time, and then they're going to have those moments too. So you just learn when it happens, and when you're in a writing funk and you're not coming up with anything new, accept it. Because if you force it, you're not going to come up with anything worthwhile anyway.
Yeah.
And then so accept it, and then when you're on that hot streak, when your fucking brain's firing and you're coming up with some good shit, lean the fuck into it.
Yeah.
When I start to come up with new stuff, that's when you're going to see me at 3 mics on a Tuesday.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I remember like one time doing, a Friday night show and then popping by an open mic in between doing 2 other booked shows. I remember a friend of mine, man, you had 3 booked shows tonight, you still squeezing an open mic in between? I'm like, yeah, because I'm on a tear right now.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you when you're in basketball. Okay, keep shooting, baby. You're on fire.
Yeah.
And then if you're cold, accept that you're cold. You know what I mean? Just those are the only mental things I've taken from comedy that I think have helped me stay sane overall with some of this stuff. But yeah, it's fucking tough, man.
Can I ask you last thing? Like, so if you have, you got like you got your tight 10 that you got like a new tight 10, right?
Yeah.
How long do you think that you marinate that for? Like a year?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
a year. I mean, it's usually when you get bored with it. Too, listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will tell a joke where like, oh, I don't get it. The first 6 months I was telling that joke, it was killing. Now the last 3 months it's not. I'm like, because you're bored of it.
Yeah.
You don't even realize you're bored of it. You're going through the motions. You expect it to kill. So you're not performing the joke. You're saying the joke. Mm-hmm. That's another thing people have to remember. Don't say your joke. Perform your joke.
Yeah.
And again, that doesn't mean go up there and be fucking Tommy Two Shoes. But go up there and whatever your cadence is and style, sell the fucking joke.
Yeah.
If you're monotone, be monotone, but believe yourself. Believe in it.
What's funny is the one joke that got my most whatever fucking like 15,000 views was one of my first jokes. It was an Oasis bit. Yeah, it was like a 2-minute Oasis bit. And then I just kept stretching it out to 3, to 4, to 5. And now they get together. So I submitted them to all these groups.
Perfect.
And that got me the most. So it's like, I'm just asking because like, I don't know. I feel like if I have like a topic, I could keep working on it. But I'm like, I don't want to fucking have 45 minutes on Oasis joke,
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to do anything quite like that. But if you feel like there's more comedy to mine from a certain subject, then go for it. I've made the mistake where I'll have a joke and I think, oh, this joke's good. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'll put that clip out there. And then 3 months later, I think of a better tag and a whole nother thing I could add to the end of that where I'm like, shit, I wish I didn't have the abbreviated version of this joke out when I've made the joke better and just, the joke is more complete now. Or before it was just like, a funny 45-second little thing, and now it's a 2.5 minute fucking killer. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it's trial and error. You learn from your own mistakes. Can't be afraid to make the mistakes. Mm-hmm. That's a big one too. If I could go back to the thing with veterans getting the stage time and stuff, at other mics I'll get bumped in, and I used to hate it when I was coming up and veterans did that. But then someone said to me once, "These people paved the way, so that's why you give them the bump."
Yeah.
And then if you keep working your ass, you'll then bump and it all evens out at the end of the day. And then I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that's true. The difference with the Laugh Factory, though, is they do one mic and it's such a prestigious stage that I just feel like the really big dogs don't really need to fucking cut into other people's shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my only fucking qualm with that. And
Yeah.
by the way, the people I'm talking about right now are my friends.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if they listen to this, fuck you. You know I'm right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But I will say also, like, when there's people like me seeing people like you, we enjoy, like, oh, I didn't even think about that.
That's cool too.
So it's almost like you're watching a samurai sharp a sword or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's another thing I would tell a lot of comics, if you're still new to this, if you're in your first 5-6 years, whatever the fuck it is, go to shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because you never know what little inspiration you might get. I'm not saying rip off other comics, but you might think, oh shit, they only talked about that for 3 seconds, but I remember I have a story similar but completely different, and that joke now bridges the gap, because fuck, I was having this problem of how do I go from this topic to this topic, but now I could, just figuring shit out like that. Like, that's just, you really do have to eat, sleep, and drink this shit.
Yeah.
For really almost the whole time you do it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously when you get big enough, then you just know. Like, Chappelle doesn't need to do shit like that anymore. But his first, that dude started when he was 15 and ate, slept, and drank stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Until he was fucking got the Chappelle show.
Yeah. Did you want to plug anything or anything?
Yeah, you can check out my YouTube channel. I've got hours of stand-up comedy on YouTube.
What's the podcast called again?
Podcast called the Joe Kilgallon Podcast, aka Kilgallon's Pub. I don't drink anymore, but the podcast before was originally like, I loved having all the conversations I had in bars. I loved. So I'm like, I want to recreate the bar conversation, the pub conversation you have with your friends in podcast form. So there's a lot of dumb questions, telling stories, things like that. So the Joe Kilgallon Podcast, look that up. It's on YouTube. My stand-up's on YouTube, youtube.com/Joe Kilgallon. It's KILGALLON.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Sounds
having
good,
me, man. This was a blast, dude.
Cool.